Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines.
Hello, viewers around the world. Good day to you, wherever you may be. It's 8 o'clock midnight time here in Milan, Italy. My name is Mike Godwin, and we're here on our first news update for the week. Between the Lines, SSM Between the Lines. You are welcome, viewers. So joining me also are my coordinators from friends, brothers. Raji Olayinka Raji is there for us, Lagos, Nigeria. Raji Olayinka, you welcome.
Good evening, Mark. Good day, viewers around the world. Welcome to our Monday program, Between the Lines.
Yes, Between the Lines, Raji. Raji, I know the Ghana election is coming close, and we're still talking behind on how we can have live coverage, just like we had some updates coming from the Ondo election. Tell us, Ondo has done its election, Ondo State, Nigeria, the Southwest Nigeria, and we want to congratulate Ayedatiwa, the governor of Ondo State. He was re-elected in a victory that looked like he took it all. We saw 120 polling units, 128 polling units taking all of his votes. Tell us, Raji, what do you know about the Ondo State Guba election?
It seems to me as if there was no contest at all between Ayedatiwa and the other candidates. It was clearly a landslide, yes. No election in Ondo State had been that clear since the creation for Ondo State. So it is clearly that, yes, the people voted for him. It may also be because the other parties are fragmented and are actually infighting and fighting against each other. And then a house divided against itself cannot hold. So therefore, people now went with the house that was fully on ground, and they voted.
That was fully on ground.
Yes, and they voted for Adetiwa.
Now, what you're saying is very strong, very cogent talk there. Now, let's analyze this. Does it look like Nigeria could be heading towards a one-party state? Because that party look more organized, like you said. They look like they have it. They look real structured. When it's time for election, they go all out. They do everything they can to win. Do you think we'll coming to that? What about the other 16, 17 political parties? What's happening, Raji?
Sometimes, at the peak of PDP's governance, what they were saying? That they were about to be in government for the next 1 century. Where it was like the famous last words. Within the next election, they were all fragmented. So I cannot, unless APC starts making that boost. The moment they make that boost, I'm sure they will be reminded about the biblical saying that he who thinks he stands must be careful lest he falls.
He who thinks, but they like the statement from the special advisor to the governor Ayedatiwa. He said it was an overwhelming vote, and it's a statement to, like he said, quality of governance that PC brings to the state, and that the states now have some confidence in on APC and also the present government. But before we continue, because this is an interesting discussion, viewers, you're tuned into Between the Lines Monday, the 18th of November, and with us is George Chuku from Toronto, Canada. How do you call that word? Toronto.
Some people call it Toronto, others call it Toronto. Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen around the world. Good. And Ola Inkaraji, my man, strong man from Nigeria. And Matt Godwin. It is good to have you guys here. So I want to welcome viewers from around the world in Between the Lines. So where we pontificate and dig deep into the real juices about the news.
Good one, George. George, we were talking, Raji and I were talking about Ondo State. Ondo had its election on Saturday, the 17th of October, on 16th. And APC is back. APC is back, George. So but Raji said some things. Raji said it was more like it wasn't really an election, it was just like Raji, repeat what you say so we can take it from there. Go ahead, Raji.
It was actually a no contest between Idatiwa and the other parties, because never in the history of elections in Ondo State had the winning party been so clear. There's no controversy at all about who won. The gap was so wide; it has never happened before in Ondo State. So it's also because the parties were fragmented again in their own homes. A house divided against itself cannot stand, and APC was standing really. Yes.
George, now the question with what Raji said, a follow-up to that is, do you think APC is, Nigeria is becoming a one-party state where APC alone stands on everywhere?
In 2015, I was in Nigeria, and being the general secretary for PDP Canada as a whole. So at this moment, when the 2015 election was about to take place, what we saw was that PDP was dead on arrival. They were not doing anything until our beloved late Ifeanyi Ubah formed 10 and got us involved, which we are part of. That particular time when I came to Milan to see you, to campaign. But what we're seeing is that, when a ruling party, they gathered the whole momentum and everything, it was going fine. You see, what happened with that was Ahmed Tinubu, our president currently, was able to work with Buhari and made a deal. So the two parties joined together. And then that was what happened. And then they won. And ever since they won that election, it has been the same thing. The same way that PDP dominated politics in Nigeria in those days until some parties came together. And that's what you're seeing today. APC is dominating. It is becoming almost like one party. And because there are no ideological differences between the parties, everybody is just the same. It's all in name only. You don't say this is a conservative or liberal party or whatever. It's all, you can jump from one party to another. It's only the name that is different. So that's what you're seeing. But right now, one of the major challenges that you see in political arena landscape in Nigeria is the inability of the opposition to come together. And I have said this repeatedly before. During the primaries, one thing that we know that was for sure was that nobody from the north was going to become the president of Nigeria. And then with that, yes, because it's a rotational presidency, whether we like it or not, it's a handshake hidden, agreement. So which the Northerners were trying to change, but they couldn't. So now for somebody who was, from the north to take over the primaries Like, for instance, what's his name again? The head of PDP right now, the former vice president. Yeah, for him to even to Atiku to come out and then to hijack the system and become the nominee was nothing but an open wickedness, and they shoot themselves on the foot because he knew that there was no way he was going to win that election, being from the north, and they did not allow the other person to become the nominee from the south. And that is the reason why they're suffering what they're suffering now. Now you see the problem with the factions with Labour Party. You see PDP is dead. I don't care what anybody says. The only time you can see a force that will be reckoned with in Nigerian political landscape is for all the opposition to come together and form one major party outside of PDP, so that they can at least, have a say-so in that arena. But if not, APC will continue to rule. This is what you're seeing all over the place. Whenever there is a state election, anytime there's a state election, you see the whole entire Senate, everybody, they rush into that place to make sure that they hijack the election. That's it. That's what it is.
Yes, that's what we're saying. Okay, Raji, you had 4 major candidates also, apart from Lucky Ayedatiwa. We had Agbola Ajayi, the man you're seeing, one of the men you're seeing there. We had Ayodele Olorunfemi. We had the other man also. Now, does this mean that somehow the Ondo people are stuck with this? I mean, can they say, let's have a change of style? Because this man is still carrying the same political plan of the late principal. Raji, what do you have to say on this? Because what we saw really was an overwhelming vote. 1.7 million voters, and in fact, half of that number just went with APC. Tell us, Raji, what do you say?
See, the only time when there was a real shake-up in Ondo politics was when Mimiko formed the Zenith Labour Party and used it to win the election. Okay. After that, it has been a ding-dong affair between PDP and APC, and so far APC has been winning. So it's not a matter of being stuck or anything. Until there's a powerful person who comes into a party. At that time, ACN and Zenith Labour Party, where Zenith Labour Party was only active in Ondo State, but they still won the elections. And it depended on that is strong enough to override.
Another issue that you will see, another issue that I want you to pay attention to is the reduction in the percentage of people that are coming out to vote. The public is disenfranchised from the very, the onset from the presidential election. You start seeing the number of people that are voting going down and down. It's only about 20-something% of the people in that state that voted. About 23% or there are 28%. Can you imagine that in a state?
No, sorry, sir. There's no disenfranchisement. There's voter apathy, there are two different things.
No. Voter apathy, where does it come from? It comes from people being disenfranchised. If you don't think your vote will count, why would you go and vote?
Let's bring in our diva from Turkey. Let's bring in our diva from Istanbul, Turkey. Yema Benson. Yema, how are you? It's good to see you this evening. Is it evening there? Yema, unmute your phone. We can't hear you out.
Okay. I'm sorry. Good evening. Thank you so much. Good evening. Good evening, viewers, and good evening, Sir George. Good evening, Sir Olajinka.
Good evening.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, George, you gave us some good statistics there. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, where does voter apathy come from? It comes from when you don't think that your vote will count. It comes from you possibly, like when you go out there to cast your vote, and then all of a sudden you're beginning to see some mago go through, like what we saw with the presidential election. Would that motivate you to come out and vote? No, it does not. You know, so, and
That is
that's
not
where the Buddha party comes
disenfranchisement.
from.
That is not
What is that?
disenfranchisement.
What do you call it?
That's not disenfranchisement.
Define it for
Disenfranchisement is
us.
when you are not even allowed to vote. No, don't let me
Okay.
Oh,
smoke.
there are levels of it. There are levels
All
of it.
right, man.
There are
It's a full
levels of,
house
you
today.
know. Mhm.
Yes, it's a full house today. Also joining us from Moscow, Russia, is our big man, Dr. Gordon eBay. Dr. Gordon, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you viewers for tuning in. Let's do it again.
There you
Let's
go.
do
That's
it
my
again.
man from Russia.
Good you're here tonight because the update from Russia is interesting. Now, gentlemen, let's talk on a major thing. I want everybody to bring their point, bring their opinion on this. Yes, Miss Universe, that pageant that somehow displays feminism is back. And we had the final yesterday, morning of yesterday. Gentlemen, let's talk about the Miss Universe. Miss Universe is back. Somehow we notice the woman that won it this time is biological woman. It's not a man, trans, and all that.
Hallelujah.
And also yes, hallelujah. Because we had many trans contestants there. There were about 5 of them. There were trans. There were people there also that were non-binary, like they say, and all kind of strange personalities that we now have in the world. But anyway, Denmark did well. The young lady from Denmark, Victoria Kija, a 21-year-old student, pulled up. And our girl too, Miss Chidima Ateshina, 23-year-old, was
Adeshina,
also.
yes.
George, I saw all your writing. Let's start with Yema, the lady in a mist. Yema, how did you see all of that pageant? Beautiful outing, was it?
I mean,
Tell us your mind.
it was really tell us your mind. It was really beautiful. And I don't know, I don't understand what you meant by displayed feminism. I understand, but I know the trans thing for me it displays womanhood for me because that's what they're trying to erase. They're trying to erase the word woman, not even feminism. Feminism entails a lot of things. Feminism entails gender equality and all sort of black and blue gender, whatever they're trying to come up with. But womanhood, there's no, it displays a woman. There's no other thing that it displays that woman than being a woman, a woman. So that was what it meant to me. Displays womanhood first, and then it displayed power, resilience, perseverance, and the support from my very beautiful home country, Nigerians. I mean, we are wonderful. Look at the support behind that. For someone to come from another country, we didn't know her just because she bears that name, Chidima. That resonates with us. We took her as our own and we gave her the full support. I mean, I'm very proud to be a Nigerian just by this course. I mean, I'm really proud. Seriously, I am.
Nice.
And I'm glad I'm really glad she came out one of the best. I mean, like that's just it.
Okay. Yes, gentlemen, let's hear more comments, more from you guys. We saw maybe before we go, let's see a clip or two. Let's see one thing from there. Then Godwin will tell us his opinion because I know so that's the final election, and there you go with the Spanish girl Victoria and the biological woman, and then
in newspapers, everyone is talking about it because I worked so hard. I worked so hard to reestablish a name. And for me, making history, standing here today as the first ever woman from Denmark to win the Miss Universe title is history. And I know that both Denmark and Europe in general is going to be so proud.
All right, gentlemen, let's not. So tell us, Godwin.
Before I
Biological.
make my comment, I want to say something. Was it only women that contested? Because I didn't notice any. Was it only women that contested, or there were other genders?
No, it was
There are some trans.
some genders that also claim to have trans into
Okay,
women.
then I congratulate Chidima, but at the same time, I think she wasted her time, in the sense that I would, if I were her, I mean, she did fantastically well. She deserved to win. But if I were her, I would just go to the microphone and say, I identify as the winner. That's it. I mean, it's madness. Honestly, I wouldn't see any need to compete. Because it's
Thank God you are not
basically there. Yeah, thank God I'm not there. I will just go to the mic and say I identify as the winner. But it's good that through many people watch the beauty pageant because they want to see real feminine beauty, real womanhood. They don't come to for something political or for human right or which right. It's not why people come to see for the pitch. They come to see beauty, to appreciate God's handiwork and God's brilliance manifested in physical form. And it's also a thing of joy seeing that that was achieved, and at the same time women were not cheated in the process, because I think they know better whether what they want. I think that Chidima did very well to be able to still come second despite the different the conditions that were not as fair as maybe as it should be. So I congratulate her dearly. And I really hope that women will be able to speak up and stop, pretending to accept everything, even when it's like you're rubbing, inequality on the face. They should speak up and say they don't like it, and they want their sport to be what it is.
I must say, I admire the comic protest. I mean, that's a nice protest from Dr. Godwin. Very comic.
All right.
You see, I just want to congratulate.
I'd like to, because Raji, I want you to take that. Raji, the event was seen more like a traditional event, like it used to be, despite what we've been hearing recently. And the interesting thing, the organizer, the chief organizer of the event, is a campaigner for transgender. But what do you say, Raji? Go ahead, tell us.
Like I hear there's a huge sigh of relief when I saw that it was a woman, a real woman, who won the pageant. Yes, which have been which is exactly how it was supposed to be. You can't go into a beauty pageant of women and to find somebody who was not a biological woman coming up with all the things, just like what happened during the was it the last boxing match where a trans male called himself a woman, a man, a person was born a man without his bones had no marrows. By the time he landed a few blows on the woman, the woman could not stand it.
No, Raji, it's not true. She's a lady, but there are ladies with very high testosterone. Built
testosterone
more level of testosterone.
As long as
I think there was something like that.
As long as there's an X chromosome in your genes, you are not a woman, you are a man.
Why? As long as there's why.
No.
Yes,
as long as
why?
In that lady's case, the lady you're talking about is the I think Tunisian or Egyptian lady or so.
Not that one. Yes. Different one.
Yes.
It's a different one. There's a one like that.
They went to
not one. Yes, not that one. No.
So for this pageant, for this pageant, I'm very happy that it's a woman, a real woman, who won it. And with Trump coming in, I think all this kind of gender confusion will be put to rest, at least for the next 4 years.
All right, thank you, George. Go ahead, George. I know you're eager to.
Well, I just want to. I mean, we can debate all we want to over this. The blurring of the line between male and female and all those type of things. But I have a medical doctor with us here. I just want to ask one question, Dr. Ibe. If a 10,000 year, fossil or bone, when you genetically look at it, can you tell whether it's a male or a female?
Yes, you can.
When yes, you can. So even if after they change their body and do everything that whatever they want to do, eventually, let's just say in another 10 years or 100 years or 1,000 years, you get the genetic examination. You will tell whether one was born a male or female, right?
Very, very simple.
Right.
Very simple.
I rest my case. But anyway, here we go. I rest.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to say. Well, we can be mad all we want to. You see, that madness is coming from the liberal section of the society. And then, you see, America now said, thus far, no further. We cannot allow this madness to continue anymore. And that's why they came out in mass and say the madness must stop. And I hope that them being the leader of the free world, that others can, glean from what that happened over there, so that even the liberal parties can come a little in the middle, rather than becoming stupid and tangent like they have been, accepting everything that comes as a way of life. It is unacceptable. I'm so sorry, but congratulations to Chidinma. But the portion where I want to focus on is South Africa. Yeah, I wrote a little piece about shame on South Africa. You people. Yes.
I saw your piece. I read your piece.
Yes.
A beautiful piece. Now, gentlemen, listen to this. The event is not only targeted at, it's not only meant to showcase the beauty of a woman. It also highlights how intelligent women are too. They check. Then quoted, they do that check while the event is going on every line, the swimming line, everything they do. Some doctors are watching to check how intelligent, how your capacity, your overall mental capacity is. Now, what they said, listen to this, good news. Chidinma far outweighs a lot of them there. Intelligent, high IQ.
Yes.
Yes. So listen to this. It's interesting, George. Because of the event normally ends with Miss Universe. So, but this time they've now made it into smaller segments, and you now have Miss Universe Africa and Miss Universe Oceania, the other continent. So Chidinma represents two continents as the Miss Universe, and that's because she should outclass every other contestant in her IQ level. So what that meant is, like you said, is that Raji or Godwin? Really, she won that thing. That crown is for her. But you see,
she actually won. She actually won. Yeah, she won. But I believe that she won. Landslide, because when you listen to her, her articulations is incredible.
If you ask me, I think the organizers probably, in my opinion, is speculation territory now. But I think they were afraid of controversy. If she had won the Miss Universe, there would have been controversy. Saying, she came as this and then she changed this and that. There would have been controversy. And I believe the organizers thought, instead of giving her the Miss Universe, coin out something that would not be controversial, but still allow her to work in her capacity. So I think it was a negotiated win for her. That's the way I see it. Speculation territory.
Godwin, you hit this well. So because we've never had Miss Universe Africa and Miss Universe Oceania, this is the first time, but they had to do that because they know the girl deserves something. Let's hear a clip of her small, intelligent level. Let's hear this.
Pienso que es ser respetada. Vivimos en una sociedad donde frecuentemente no nos respetan por lo que somos. Pero cuando uno se respeta a sí misma, uno respeta a los demás. Y el respeto es sumamente importante. Gracias.
Bien por Nigeria. Muy buena respuesta de Nigeria, segura.
Okay, gentlemen, let's go on a small break. So there you go, viewers. Viewers, we're here. We missed Raji now. It's Monday. It's Between the Lines, and we are here. Let's come back. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial, like they say. Don't touch that dial.
Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines.
Yeah, Between the Lines, you are welcome back. We give you that juicy part of the news, we bring out the line of it. Gentlemen, I hope you guys are with me. George from Toronto, Canada, Iema Benson from Istanbul, Turkey, Dr. Godwin Ibe from Russia, Moscow, and Olayinka Raji from Lagos, Nigeria. Gentlemen, let's come to some other very strong occurrence we're seeing. First of all, we had a special guest in Nigeria. The Indian PM visited Nigeria. He visited the Indian.
Massive Mark.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
No,
you can hear me.
Hear you, Mark. We can hear you, Mark.
We can hear you. Okay. It's from him.
Okay. I think Raji is the one that is having problem. Okay. So on Monday, during the weekend, we had the Indian Prime Minister visit Nigeria. He came to see his people, Indians in Nigeria, the Indian community in Nigeria. And it was beautiful out, and I think the studio will play that. So Godwin, when we see two big nations, I think in numbers, human number, after Nigeria is I think Indonesia, also Russia, then India. I'm sorry, after India, you have also Nigeria coming on the line. Godwin, tell us, when we see two countries like this creating good, harmonious ties, do you think something fruitful can come out of it?
Certainly. The more leaders meet, they're able to iron out differences, speak a common language, to shape their policy better in their mutual interest. But it's important to note that Nigeria, being a more Western aligned country, recently became a BRICS partner, and now is meeting with a BRICS member nation. It's not too far fetched to imagine that many of the deals will be beneficial to the BRICS country or to the BRICS organization, BRICS Plus organization. Obviously, Nigeria has a lot to learn from India in the sense that India is far more populous than Nigeria, but it's less of a migration risk than Nigerians, which is a paradox in itself. We understand that, yes, very populous nations are generally migration risks because of the pressure, the outward pressure. But at the same time, because of the value that the citizens add, Indians, in terms of productivity, especially in the IT sector and assembly sector, they are not seen, treated as harshly as Nigerians, even though Nigerians also contribute. But I mean, like, they are known for a particular sector, which is the IT sector, programming sector.
Yes.
And they've been able to because of that, get sometimes special visas in some countries, and their passport is stronger in terms of the amount of places they can visit using their passport. And also they've been able to increase the productivity of each citizen to take advantage of that number to raise their GDP to even more than Russia. I think after China and EU, you should be having India competing there somewhere. So they've been able to suck out every productivity, not every, but as much as they can right now to be able to raise up their both their GDP in terms of nominal terms and purchasing power parity. So I think Nigeria has a lot to learn and also increase bilateral trade and reduce trade deficits.
Thank you. Yes, George Araji, I hope you're in there now. George, we saw the 21 salutes. We saw everything. The media man told
sorry, I forgot pharmaceutical as well, not just IT, but pharmaceutical.
Pharmaceutical. So, but Bayo Onanuga, the media said both leaders will be seeking to strengthen the Nigerian-Indian ties and increase productivity. George, what do you say about that?
Well, I agree completely with Dr. Ide about the benefits that Nigeria will receive, and having been partially part of this the group now, where it is no longer unipolar, it's a multipolar system. And with this type of agreement, it will help us a lot. I mean, he is the first prime minister from India to visit West Africa in 17 years. And considering I think they're having a G20 meeting right now. So that particular meeting, the visit was a preemptive, move, and it was a very powerful one. And then Nigeria honored him with one of the best, the highest, what do you call it? The highest honor. That the commander of I think it's called the commander of the Grand Commander of the Order of Niger. That was given to him. So it's a very good gesture, actually. But it makes a lot of sense because India is one of the highest exporters of rice right now, which is one thing that if all things being equal, we could actually negotiate, as being part of the BRICS right now to have have a business collaboration with them. But a few years ago, when India was rushing to Nigeria, Nigeria was the place to be then. But all of a sudden, we see the shift now. It is a paradigm shift in the whole economic warfare that is happening around the world. All of a sudden, India is becoming I think their population now is the highest in the world, above China. Okay. So now they have a lot to do, and this prime minister actually has done so well for India, whether we like it or not. You could see the kind of respect that he receives around the world. It's almost like he is the leader of the world right now, if we want to call it so, because of the way that he's managed his country, positioned his country, and then all of a sudden, the respect is very high. So I really am thankful that this kind of meeting took place, and eventually it might help us a lot. And we have a lot to learn, like Dr. Ide said, a lot to learn from them.
Thank you. Before the lady comes in, Reggie, tell us, what do you have on this visit?
I think the visit is more in favor of India than Nigeria, because Nigeria is now is an open market. And if you look at the pharmaceuticals, as Dr. Ibe mentioned, almost every pharmaceutical product now you have on any pharmacy shelf now is probably from India. So India sees us as a very big market. What Nigeria can learn from India is the process that they took right from independence, when they blocked all import of machineries and vehicles and everything that can be produced in India from coming in. As of today, if an Indian is going back to India with a PC that he bought anywhere, he is likely to sell it before getting to India, because the amount of amount of duty we pay on that personal item is almost the cost of a brand new PC in India. So I hope Nigeria will be able to learn something from India, from India. So, okay, let us stop importation of anything that we can produce in Nigeria. Let us stop that.
That's a very good idea there, because you remember what just happened recently with Elon Musk. Elon Musk came there and wanted to negotiate to build a factory. They said no, we cannot allow you to do that. If you want to come here, build it, employ our people, and let them be the ones, train them and employ them locally. And that's what destroyed that particular thing. So you're very right, Olayinka Raji. But the only problem we have is that we become so subservient to some of these countries. Our country have a beggarly mentality and beggarly attitude when it comes to standing our ground in negotiation. Because the small handshake on the left-hand side can change the whole conversation. And that's one of the major problems we're having in that country.
Another thing I want to add, if you check the CV of Prime Minister Modi, you will know that he probably has a master's in engineering. He's not just one gangster who came to power.
Yes, Godwin, you were going to say something. I know Yema.
I want to say something. I partially agree with Raji when he said the trade was more beneficial to India, but on the other hand, it's not completely true. The reason is because Nigeria exports about 8.2 billion worth of exports to India, while India exports about 5.4 billion. So there's a trade deficit against India. But also, if we look at what Nigeria exports, Nigeria is the second largest exporter to India. It's ranking second, while India is like 27th to Nigeria. And so it's easy to do away with in terms of what we can do away. And if you see what we supply to India, our major product is crude oil. While we get refined crude oil, apart from the medicaments we talked about, with the Dangote refinery, if we get our house in order, we can decide not to get those crude refined crude, because the ratio of that refined petroleum to the medicaments that we get from India is a ratio of 6:1. So if we're able to get our act in order in terms of refined product, we are definitely having a much trade advantage to India. Also, India. Why I agreed with Raji, I said partially because India has been improving its annualized trade with Nigeria yearly by 20%. So even though they are less at 5 billion, they are on the increasing trajectory. While Nigeria is kind of stable, reducing by less than 1% every year. So it's a beneficial trade to Nigeria, nonetheless.
Beneficial trade to Nigeria. The lady in the midst. What do you say about that visit before we go to the other side of it? Go ahead, Yema. Did you?
Okay, I kind of I think I agree. I don't know. I agree with what Ms. Saraji said. Yes, I agree with what he said. That it's beneficial to India more than it is to Nigeria. Why? Because I think
she took herself out. Yes. Okay.
Well, you see, before she comes in, you see, sometimes when you look at things from the face value, it might look a little bit, screwed. But what Dr. Ibe is bringing are facts, statistical facts. It's not about, looking at it from a face value. He's looking at it from a statistical facts that I can actually show you exactly, the ratio of benefit from one to the other. So that's why I agree with him completely over this, because if you look at it from another standpoint, you can see that it looks as if it will benefit India more. But when you look at it from factual statistical data, you know that Nigeria is actually benefiting more. So that's the reason, you know. So I agree with Dr. Ibe. Go ahead.
Yes. You see, both aspects are true. You see, when you look at the details, you will see that India is exporting to us finished products. We are exporting to them mainly raw materials. We need to put more value in the things we export. And we need to stop importing all the things that we can produce ourselves. Yes.
Okay, let's just do a small one on this. Yes, your judge started. The G20 summit is ongoing, and yes, India, Nigeria are there. In Brazil, gentlemen, what do we expect in this G20 summit? We know this most times it's just too much talk, like Godwin will tell us. We don't see much on the impact of the people, the citizens. Don't see more. Let's see a clip of our president arriving with the wife right there. So that's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the wife Remy meeting with Da Silva, the president of Lulu
Da Silva.
President Da Silva, and together they will be discussing some critical global issues. India is also there, and let's hear you, Raji. What do you think about this summit, this G20?
Well, I hope there will be more concrete agreements, arrangements this time around, except for a lot of the talk that you normally hear from there. I hope there'll be more results. I actually don't know the details of the agenda of the meeting, but I hope it will come out with more beneficial results. Yes.
Result. Okay. Yes. Go ahead, George. What do you think of this meeting? You think?
Well, I mean, I mean, we really can't. There's a shift in our way of thinking, you know, because there is a shift in the global economy, the way things are. You know, you see now that, you know, the BRICS are making a lot of inroad into the whole economic world, whereby, you know, there are so many things happening right now. You don't have to use dollar alone to, you know, trade internationally. So a lot of countries are just, you know, sucking themselves out of the whole entire thing, and then, you know, renegotiating so that the local currencies can be used, or certain other currencies, rather than, you know, holding everybody on the neck with US dollars. So these are some of the things that will happen. And most of the time, actually, you know, one of the major issues, like, you know, we're saying, they have a lot of discussions, but at the end, when they finish all this meeting, they go back. We don't see any tangible progress that will benefit the world as a whole. You know, so you ask yourself the question, since they started all of these things, I know this particular meeting now, or whatever you call it, you know, it is about them agreeing on anything that they have negotiated in the past, and then they can put a stamp on it. And, you know, especially with what the world, you know, with the weather system that we are talking about all over the place. So one of the major issues, climate change, which, you know, to a degree is justifiably accurate that something is happening, but when it becomes such a big issue whereby, you know, we have to, you know, do or die situation, I don't know. You know, Trump doesn't believe in climate change, and he's coming very soon. And with his emergence, and that's another thing that you guys will have to understand. You see, this particular meeting is so important to most of them. You know why? Because Trump's entrance into the scene right now can change a whole lot. Remember when he first, he will change a lot. And I can guarantee you privately, when they're having these meetings, they're going to be discussing, how do we deal with this situation? How are we going to deal with, you know, Trump coming in again? You know, because he is going to demand, you know, equal contribution to a lot of things, just like what he's, you know, with United Nations and all, you know, So those are the things that we need to understand that will take place. Yes.
Okay, Godwin, is there anything you want to add? Well, Yema, you're welcome. Godwin, is there any?
Yes, I want to add that. Okay, let Raji go ahead, sir.
Okay. No.
I think
Okay.
I think George has made a serious point that the incoming of Trump is going to change a lot of things, especially, and I'm very, very happy about the changes that's going to happen with the climate change and the and climate change especially. Yes.
Okay.
Raji, do you believe in climate change?
Because of time, gentlemen, I'm sorry. Our time is limited. We need to get update from Russia. Russia cut gas supply to Austria this yesterday morning. He said payment disputes issues, but Europe is still having some deliveries. But we're scared. Europe is scared. Anything could happen anytime. Plus, Godwin, what was that story? Plus, we want the update on the long-range missile approval that Biden has given to Ukraine. Let's hear you.
Sitting dog president.
Well, most of the Russia was largest energy supplier to Europe before the whole sanctions and artificial impediments in the global supply chain. Russia usually is willing to take some credits, to give some loans, or to give gas at some credit. They are ready to suffer some losses or to give you some credit for a while. They're sometimes are ready to accept delayed payment, but when they run out of patience, then they cut it off. Russia doesn't cut off immediately. It's been a while since Russia has been owed over $200 million, and it's something that Austria could have
prevented,
gone out of or prevented, because it's not a surprise. There was an arbitration process against Gazprom. They had all the while to compensate or to give Russia its fair treatment, considering that Russia gives them sometimes even before getting its money. It doesn't really bother. It knows that region is politically problematic in terms of relating with them, so they let them sort themselves out. If they don't, then they just cut off, right? So I believe if you take gas, you use it, you should pay for it. No stories,
No stories. Yes, thank you. Niema, you were about to say something before you were taking off. Do you still want to say anything on what we're discussing? We're talking Russia. We're talking G20. Well, all of these issues, new updates. Do you have anything to add? Turkey will be there at the G20 also. We saw the prime minister there, the president there. And what do you think it could impact on the country, Turkey?
I mean, my country is Nigeria, not Turkey. I'm just country is Nigeria. So I'm much concerned about what my president is going to say there. I'm much concerned about. I hope we don't get to hear memes flying all over the place. I mean, that's where we discuss where things seriously affecting the world have been. I hope there is. I hope Nigeria will be affected positively if that makes sense. At least the wars, the important issues. Do we really have climate problems in Nigeria? I doubt. Aside that, we need the British to leave Nigeria so we can just progress a little bit. I mean, I just wish. I know it's out of point, but I just wish there'll be. That our president will be able to say something that will affect a change in Nigeria positively. I mean, that's what I'm just most concerned about.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. Yes, the update this evening is Biden has approved Ukraine to use long-range missiles. And this, we know, will escalate more tension in this whole thing. George, Biden is trying to scatter things before Trump comes in.
I don't know. You see, because what is going to happen right now, we're already talking about the possibility of Trump coming in and actually discontinuing any type of financial aid to Ukraine. This move is a very unwise move, if you ask me. The reason is that it will escalate things more. And, the bottom line effect of everything is the masses around the world. When this war started, I know how much gas was at the pumps, but immediately the war started, everything just changed, and up until now, it is still happening. So one of the major problems is we're trying to de-escalate rather than, escalate this entire thing. We're trying to find a way to mediate and stop all these innocent people dying unnecessarily, and then all of a sudden, before he leaves office, he wants to do this. I'm not quite sure that I understand the reasoning behind it.
It's crazy.
We ought to be finding a way to negotiate and put things together. But anyway, I thankfully Trump is coming in. Hopefully he will have a positive angle to this to de-escalate this whole entire thing. If he's able to. Say what again?
You just said thank God Trump. You?
I did. I did.
I think it's all. I think it's all out of anger and frustration. When an old man is frustrated, he can do so many things. His time is limited. It's over.
I was gonna crack a joke with you right now, but let me just leave it alone because your granddaughter that loves me might get upset at me.
Biden is just frustrated. He's just frustrated. He's also so angry about Trump coming back in, and he's sure that Trump is going to stop this silly, childish war that he started.
We hope that he's able to, because this thing is deeper than sees the eyes.
Let me ask
he can. Trump can.
Yes, let's have Godwin.
Dr. Godwin.
People killed, because missiles were fired and shot during the weekend, and this will provoke Russia.
Yesterday night as well. Most of the energy infrastructure have, in fact, Odessa is blacked out totally.
Odessa
seven out of 9 nuclear reactors were turned off yesterday, and Ukraine has warned all citizens that the winter will be very tough. The citizens are really suffering, like Sir George said. In the last NATO meeting, one of the senior commanders said the reasons we didn't go into Ukraine is because Russia is a nuclear power. This was his statement. Meaning, and that has not changed. The point is that they pumped this guy up just to leave him high and dry. At the end, let me reiterate that what the news article retracted the publication where they said they gave Ukraine authority to strike deep into Russia and change it to 50 kilometers within Russia. That means the Kursk region alone. But in any case, it's going to escalate. It's going to cause escalation. We already see how all the energy infrastructure are being destroyed. 1.5 million Ukrainians are dead. Zelensky is thinking of reducing under severe pressure from the United States to reduce age of conscription to 18 years. He has tried to refuse to do that. He has been pushing back against it. But imagine reducing the conscription age to 18. Just imagine, will there be only underage people in Ukraine? It's very, it's apart from the political elite, of course. For normal people, will there be only underage people in Ukraine left? It's really, really sad. I hope that common sense prevails and they come to negotiation table. And this is coming at the back of the effort of the Arabians, the United Arab Emirates, to strike a deal between Russia and Ukraine to prevent the attack of the energy sector. Was rebuffed by Zelensky, and Putin has shown that
But listen to this, gentlemen. Listen to this, gentlemen. Zelensky on his side responded that missiles. He said he used the term like this. He said missiles speaks for themselves. So what he's saying indirectly, what we news people were reading in the lines is Biden could say this, and it might not be done, that the permission might not be given. So because he says missiles speaks for themselves. So it is when he actually begin that he knows the man has said it.
Exactly.
let's just put our hands crossed and hope that it doesn't happen, because at least takes us to nowhere.
The retraction.
Another thing that is going to happen.
Just one sentence. The retraction of the news article speaks for itself.
Okay.
Another thing that we're going to see, you're talking about 1.5 million people dying in Ukraine. Yeah, so, and then there's going to be like a lot of, 20 women to one man very soon on both sides. Because if Russia is now bringing North Korea in, that means they're also depleting themselves from the males. It's going to be something else.
God is giving us numbers. Those of us that want to take wives are now going.
Yes, it's
important to note that George raised a very important point, but it's important to note that Russia isn't doing general mobilization. Russia is working mostly with volunteers, people who volunteer to fight the special military operation. So there is no general panic in Russia, no fear of being mobilized. Everything is so it has not reached the pressure. The pressure has not
that level.
So it's
we got
it just talks about the losses.
All right, gentlemen, good one. Thank you for that. We all stand together in this one. I see all of us unitedly saying this makes sense. Biden, if you're hearing this, if any of your men are hearing this, this makes sense. Stop any missile, anything. Stop this war. Stop everything. Let's move on with good life.
One thing, what started this war? What started this war was NATO trying to bring Ukraine in. What I'm thinking is to have peace among us. Let Russia return every territory that they took, and let NATO don't come to Ukraine and trying to bring them in. I believe that everybody can live at peace. Okay, you can't come to our border. Ukraine is part of our brothers and sisters. So let's just deal with that. Just in what happened to you with Cuba and the United States of America. So that's what I think we should have. Let's just sit down and, even an old lady, an old man can just do this.
All right.
Just return back every territory that was captured and let just, call this.
There's a problem with this solution.
Going with Sir George. Just 1 minute, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, going with Sir George. If you are going to roll back all the territories that Russia has taken so far, I think we have to go back to 1990 when the USSR was being disbanded. The USSR was disbanded, and we agreed on that disbandment. Pari passu with the disbandment of USSR should also be the disbandment of NATO.
I want to.
You're trying to complicate issues. You want to make it a very simple. When the war started, what started the war?
Raji spoke. Raji spoke out of my mind. I want to say. Can I speak, please? I want to say. I want to build on what. I want to build on what Sanjay said. It is not the. It's not just the Ukraine joining NATO that started the war. It is the fifth wave of expansion of NATO that started the war. And the kicking out of Yanukovych, the elected president, in Maidan, despite a pre-agreement between Russia and the EU. They disregarded it and organized Maidan. This was the main triggering factor. Now, if we want to returning territory for Russia is a red line because Russia has paid blood for it. It's a no-go area. Both Trump and gentlemen, people are saying that's the reality. They should accept the reality.
Yeah, by Friday we'll have more on this international news update. I want us to come home because this is crucial. What we're about to say now, but we don't have much time, so everybody will have just a minute, please, to make a comment. We saw not too good sights this morning. Gruesome sight of our people in the southeast being killed like goats because some people are enforcing stay at home. Crazy. Now, they sent me the videos directly, and what I saw was not good at all. Gruesome, bloody, gory, all kinds of words you use to describe it. Let me start with Exogen. We trust you. You're always there with us. SCGN says, let's not idolize psychopaths. Be
sociopaths.
Sociopaths. Be it Biden or Trump. Putin or Trump. Sorry. My eyes are beginning to go down.
I thought you were joking. I thought you were joking that he forgot Biden.
The state is in bad shape. Imo State is not doing good. Tell us, what did you say?
It's not only Imo State. I think it happened also in Anambra State. It happened in Abagana and all the surrounding areas. We are about quite a few number of people were killed, and a lot were taken to the hospital because they wanted to come out. And these are some of these people that were killed were security agents that were actually trying to enforce normalcy in Southeast. But all I can tell you right now is this. I can tell you one thing. It's a joke. It is a joke. For them to continue to do what is a joke is you have a governor in a state. You have all these five governors among the former Eastern region, and they are just ghosts are enforcing sit at home up until today, and you have not been able to penetrate in and find out who these people are and nip them from the board. Go to the root cause of all these things and remove them. So you are telling me that individuals that are carrying guns are greater than the whole entire state? That you cannot use drones or you cannot use anything to search out these people and to to make sure. Let me tell you something that happened a few years ago when Obi was governor of Anambra State. That state was in a dire situation. It was so much messed up that when Obi came in, do you know that quietly he was able to handpick all these people up until today? None of them, we don't even know what happened to them. I came home to Nigeria from the United States of America, and I was so surprised with what I saw. That was simply because he strategically went in and used the public to find out these people who they were, and he was able to remove them, and there was peace in that state. So all these things they're doing, it is benefiting the governors, and that's why they're allowing it to happen.
All right, Raji, these are your in-laws being slaughtered like cows. What
like they say, if insurgency lasts for more than one day, then the government may be involved. I don't really understand how the whole of the eastern states of the
Eastern, can you imagine?
The whole of the place, every Monday there's no market, no sit at home on Monday. So you have 3 days of weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. No, it is not right. It's not fair. It is not fair to the people. It's not fair to those who are even enforcing it. It's unthinkable.
Can you imagine the trillions of naira that has been lost in the since this nonsense started? Trillions of naira lost simply because of this. Come on, man.
You know the equivalent of sit at home on Monday. It is a 20% tax on Igbos. 20%. 1/5 working days is equals to 20%. You are imposing a 20% tax on the economy of Igbo land. It doesn't make sense to me.
Mondays are,
I understand. Yeah,
Mondays are usually the busiest.
And usually the busiest because Saturday
after the weekend, that's when it is supposed to be.
What will you say, Yema? How do you see this?
I mean, usually, like Sir just said that. I mean, Laji said that it's benefiting the government, and I agree with that. There is no way that the government do not know those who are behind it. Just like dear, what's his name, was going to the forest, to the Zambiza forest to feed the Boko Harams. He knew where they were, like giving them. So I know he knows that the government of the eastern states know who those people are. They are benefiting in one way or the other. Whatever it is, that the money from the ammunitions and whatever they're benefiting. So they know about this, and it's quite sad that those that are affected are the innocent people who are just looking for how to make means for themselves and their families. So it's quite sad. And
if we allow, sorry to cut you short, if we allow regional security, I think some states will decide that they want Wagner or Russian paramilitary to come in, because when they came in, many of the places now are seeing peace and insurgency is reduced to minimum. If the US is not able to provide us, which we are, the Anglo-Saxons, which we are more closely aligned with as of today's reality, are not able to provide us or work together with us to provide to put security, then they should give other people the options to do that. And I believe that Russia will be able to guarantee security in the East if given the chance. So they should try to.
You remember? Do you remember the guy who said, "If you guys will not give us security in Lagos, if you guys will not give us security, maybe we'll call for the IPOB to come and give us." And the guy is still locked up until today. So please be careful, because these people are crazy. I don't know what it is going on in our country, and all of a sudden they're saying, they want Russia to come and take over. I'm just saying, because you remember that thing. That man is still in jail.
Let me say this to our viewers watching and to you guys. You are secure in your speech because you're covered in the European freedom of speech, and you are secure in any utterance you make. So don't be afraid. Say anything you want to say. SSM is wired to Brussels, and none of you can get hurt, be detained for your expression. So, but on this note, let's come on Friday and talk more on this. On Wednesday also, there's something that happened in Dar es Salaam. There's something that happened in that country, Tanzania. People died, the building collapsed, and many things happened there. So we'll come more on this on Wednesday. Thank you, George, for coming around. Thank you, Godwin. Thank you, Raji and Niema. We've done it. We've gone ahead more than the time. And thank you, viewers connected. Oxygen is always there.
He's always there.
Make the government accountable. The state needs their own law
enforcement agency.
That's it.
Agency.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. So let's go on and have a beautiful week.
Have a good day.
Until we come again.
Have a beautiful week.
Thank you again.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Elevate your new week, fuel your success. SSM invites you to kickstart each weekday with our news update Between the Lines, featuring the week's top news and analysis and the most attention-grabbing lines, deciphering world events. Hook up to SSM Monday program Between the Lines. In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in diaspora and at home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates